Hey everybody, welcome to Legends of 40k. I'm doing a Dark Elder one out of a request, because I haven't done one yet. So I thought I'd talk about what is probably my favorite Dark Elder special character, Drazhar, Master of Blades. He's basically a special character Incubi Clavix, but um, he's an HQ special character, and every Dark Eldar special character is an HQ. Um, so, He's 230 points. Weapon skill and ballistic skill is 7. Strength and toughness of 4. 3 wounds, initiative 7, 4 attacks, leadership 10, 2 plus save. He's infantry, unique. He has an ancient incubus warsuit, demiclaves. He has special rules, fleet, night vision, power from pain, independent character, eternal warrior, fearless, darting strike, master of blades, and riposte. So, Master of Blades means he can only join a unit of Incubi. However, any unit of Incubi he joins becomes fearless, as long as he's in the unit. And Drazhar also has the Clavix powers Onslaught and Murderous Assault, which I will not go into here. He has Darting Strike, so at the beginning of any round of close combat in which Drazhar is involved, he may move to any part of the same combat where there is room to place him. He must be placed in base-to-base contact with an enemy model and remain in coherency with any unit he has joined. That is cool, and I'll go into that later. He has Riposte, so whenever he makes an armor save and rolls a 6, for close combat armor saves only, he makes a single bonus attack at his basic strength, directed at the unit that caused the wound, and made at the same initiative step. So, in close combat, if he gets wounded at the initiative step of 5, and he makes a successful armor save and rolls a 6, he makes an attack back at his basic strength at initiative 5. Move the mouse out of the way. Therefore, what that means is, if there's something in the close combat to go attack him at initiative 4, though it doesn't get to go until he does that attack back at initiative 5 at the unit that caused the wound. So, before I talk about his entry and what and how I would use him, I'm going to talk about his model, because he has his own model. Now, Drazhar has always been a fan of mine, for the Dark Eldar special characters and look of a model. I always thought he had a cool look to him, and he still does. I still like his model. However, in comparison to the new Incubi models, he is showing his age. Now you could say it's because he's got a ancient incubus warsuit on, yada yada yada, whatever. He's an old model. He needs to be revamped a bit. I think if they resculpted him, maybe keeping the same pose, maybe having a pose kind of like how he is on his entry, as far as yeah, I'll show you the artwork. Maybe something like that, or just the way he's holding his blades would be kind of cool. He looks a lot more pointy in the artwork than he does on his model. And I think one of the things that Dark Eldar I should say, is pain, and looking like he causes pain, and looking like he's just, full of pain. And if he's a little bit more pointier and a little more jagged, I think that would do it. Kind of like how the other Incubi are. So, with that being said, I still like his model. It's just, it's showing its age. Now his entry. He's expensive, but you get high weapon skill and ballistic skill, high initiative, a nice number of attacks base. You get a strength and toughness of 4, which for Eldar in general, including Dark Eldar, is nice to have. Their base strength and toughness is 3 for the both of them, so it is nice to have a higher than that. So being 4 is nice. Even before you give him his effects for his demiclaves, that's nice. Now, he does not have an invulnerability save, but he is an Eternal Warrior, so that kind of helps a little bit. But I feel he should have an invulnerability save in close combat. Yes, he's got an armor save at 2+, which is very nice, especially for Eldar models in general. But he's the Master of Blades. Other models that have a similar thing, or similar theme of being a master of close combat for something, usually have some kind of invulnerability save, at least in close combat, and I feel um, he should have something similar like that, but he doesn't. I also feel that he deserves to have assault grenades. He does not have assault grenades, or count as being equipped with assault grenades. He doesn't actually have to have grenades. He can part of his Master of Blades rule could be that when charging in the cover, he counts as being equipped with assault grenades. It seems odd to me that you're gonna have this big special character of close combat, and for that matter, a squad of incubi, because they can't take anything with assault grenades either, and then not have a way to give them assault grenades. Now, maybe I'm just missing the point of the fluff of a Dark Elder a bit, but I look at it as Dark Elder's big strength is their speed, both moving wise, with vehicles, on foot, whatever, and both in close combat, with having high initiative. And you want to make use of that as much as possible. So, I feel he should have something with assault grenades. But he doesn't. So, that would be two things I would change on his entry. I would keep everything he has, pretty much. But, give him an invulnerability save and count his assault grenades. Work the point cost out accordingly. Although I don't think they'd make him too much higher, because he is pretty expensive. But yeah. The Eternal Warrior is nice. I'm not going to say it's not, but when you don't have any vulnerability save, taking 3 power fists to the face is still going to kill you when you only have 3 wounds. So, just my own opinion. So how would I use Drazhar? Well, Drazhar is very much an anti-independent character. He's a HQ hunter. He'd be even better if he had frag grenades for that. But if you're going to take Drazhar, he can only join Incubi. You might as well take an Incubi squad at that point, because you're going to want him in a squad. Yeah, he has a 2+ armor save with Eternal Warrior, but if he gets shot up before getting anywhere, it'll be a problem. Plus, Incubis can take dedicated transports, so he can be attached to them, and in the dedicated transport provider there's room, which can help get across the battlefield quicker. It's another added bonus for being safe in terms of being shot at to a point, since they are fast skimmers. But basically, it just increases the speed of getting to close combat, which is what you want to do when you have a unit of Incubi with Drazhar. And I would immediately throw them into enemy HQs. That's what I would do. It's just something I would do. I would still take a Clavex in the squad of the Incubi, just because the Clavex has an initiative boost to himself and a higher weapon skill and 1 more attack. But you could give the Clavex I forget which power it is. I think it's Onslaught. You could still, I would give the Clavex 1 power potentially, depending on what you're gonna do. Yeah, I'll give the Clavex Onslaught potentially. I mean, it's not really necessary, but if you want to give them one of them, that's what I would give. But it's not really necessary because you have Drazhar leading the way. I would give him a Bloodstone. That would help the squad out. But pretty much that aside, because that's not really Drazhar, that's the squad. I would have Drazhar leading a squad of Incubi in a transport, getting across the battlefield and trying to cut off the head of the enemy. That's what he would do best, because of his Demiclaves, and backed up by a bunch of Incubi. That's a hard-hitting assault force, especially if they're out of cover. So high initiative, high number of attacks from him, and because Dark Elder have high initiative in general, you're gonna have that coming from the rest of the squad he leads. After that, I would go after elites. I would throw these guys into him and his squad into Mega Knobs. I would throw them into Knobs. I would throw them into Terminators. Not ones with Storm Shields. depending on how many there are there. You are forcing a lesser save, so it is nice, and the number of attacks maybe you may be able to overcome a 5-man squad with 3+ invulnerability saves. But a 3+ invulnerability save is nothing to laugh at, depending how much is left of the Incubi squad that's with Drazhar. Depending if Drazhar is still with them after the job is done. You may or may not assault them. That sometimes you gotta go big or go home. So give it a shot. You're definitely forcing a lesser save. You're going before they go, so you could kill them off. I would say I'd be more for going for it if he had an invulnerability save. Just because if they do attack him, it's not going to take that many hits to bring him down when he has no invulnerability save, even if he is an Eternal Warrior. But I would HQ hunt, then Elite hunt. He is in a way kind of like the Mephiston of the group, if you want to think about it that way. He's nowhere near as stat line powerful as Mephiston because of the strength and toughness, but he's like a mini Mephiston. He's like a Dark Elder Mephiston in a way. He's got the high initiative, high weapon skill and ballistic skill. He's got a above average strength and toughness. Granted, it's not 5s. It's not 2 up like because Mephiston is 6s and the base Space Marine is 4. So it's not like he is 5s with base of 3. For a regular Dark Eldar, he's 4, but he's got some powers to help back him up and all that, so he can get a higher strength with his Demiclaves. I'm not trying to make a comparison here because when I start playing, people will be like, no, Mephiston's way stronger, and that's neither here nor there. But I'm just saying, in terms of how you'd utilize Drazhar, he's like a Mephiston in that aspect. A hunt the HQ with us. But Drazhar can be part of a squad, so hunt the HQ with the squad, directly helping him out, and then go after elites. While they would rip into basic like horde troops like guardsmen and arc boys, not where you want to use a squad full of power weapons. That's why I would throw them against knobs. I would have them attack war bikes, bikers in general. Things like that is what I would go after. Because of their power weapons, because of the clave and the demiclave's abilities, they can utilize the strength bonus to help them overcome biker toughness, and they got power weapons. So once they do that, they're pretty much cutting through bikers. That's what I would do with them. So to recap that, get him with a squad of Incubi in a transport. Go after the enemy HQ, regardless whatever enemy you're fighting. Because even against Tyranid HQs, they can still do some damage and pretty much drop a Hive Tyrant by themselves. So him and his squad, not him by himself, but him and his squad can pretty much do that. So definitely worth trying out. And then hunting elites after that. Multi-wound, it doesn't matter. Multi-wound, big multi-wound squads can be a problem because nobody can do instant death unless they happen to be toughness 3 with multi-wound. In the case of Drazhar with his demiclaves, but they're gonna have an easier time wounding than a base Dark Eldar would. They're gonna be all power weapon wounds, so you may not wipe the entire squad. You may only potentially cut down half of it, but depending how big the squad is, that's fine. You got to use your head here. So I rambled on enough about that. That's Drazhar, Master of Blades. Like I said, probably my favorite Dark Eldar special character. Both for his look, his feel, and his fluff. So if you want to know more about his fluff, you can look into it yourself because I don't have time to talk about it here in this video. But anyway, that's it for this edition of Legends of 40K. Hopefully you weren't too bored. And until next time, take it easy.